We are live. We're back in business. It's Paul O'Neill, Anthony Jordan.
Got it right.
What's going on, mate? You got a bit of a suntan?
Yeah, I'm getting a bit burnt out of it.
Have you got suntan lotion on?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I got factor 50.
What happened to your eye before?
That was factor 50 in my eye. Yeah, it didn't go well. That was the end of civics. Yeah, but I'm all good now.
Yeah,
I'm all good now.
Let's tell everybody about the grid. So, I think Darryl Wilson's on the front row, isn't he?
He is on the front row. Yeah, starting P2. Carl Boardley on pole.
Interesting that, because Carl Boardley was demoted because of track limits. Interviewed him, was quite vocal, but I knew he'd be professional. Wasn't happy about the track limits, but it's given him a pole. It's probably given him a better chance of winning than he had before. Yeah.
Funny how things turn around, isn't it? But yeah, no, I'm sure he'll be a little bit more happy about that now.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be a bit more delighted about that. Jensen Brickley, though, starting on second row again. We saw what he did at Croft, where he had that reverse grid, came through, he won that race. Do you reckon he could do it again?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Listen, he knows how to win, so we'll see. One thing I wanted to have just caught in my eyes is the Goodyear guys here who obviously supply the tyres. We could just have a quick wander over to them, AJ. Come with me. I'm a bit worried about actually what they are watching. I think they're watching Le Mans. They're watching Le Mans, aren't they?
No.
You're watching Le Mans, I knew you were.
In the rerun from TCR UK, first race.
Grow up, as if he is. Mickey Butler, tell me more about how difficult it is to sleep when the temperatures are this hot, or Goodyear supplies such a good tyre, there's no dramas at all, mate.
No, we always get a bit nervous, you know what I mean, when you see track temperature 42 degrees. What we are seeing is a lot of damage to the right-hand side tyre through the curve. You know, they're all clipping them. We're having a lot of damage there. So the drivers, you know as well from experience around here, it's really hard on the brakes as well. So we're seeing a lot of deg there as well. So we're seeing a lot of issues, self-inflicted I might add, but yeah, it's cool enough now, so I'm a little bit happier. But we have raced on the track at over 50 degrees, so
we'll be golden, mate. We always rely on Goodyear and Mickey. Yeah, he's gone up to go and watch the rest of Le Mans. We've only got 24 hours left, mate. AJ, interesting to hear that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Damage to the tyre, self-inflicted. He said about brake degradation, which I've spoke about on comms. When you've got that heat soak that comes from the brakes into the tyres when you don't want it, because you want it at the start of a qualifying lap, say, it's difficult in a race when the heat builds up, and it's difficult. But the teams seem to be taking note, and they haven't had any failures. Touch wood.
I think they'd be okay with it, and it's hard in race situations when that happens, because you know constantly that you need to push harder and harder, and it just gets worse and worse. So, you know, it's difficult when you would think that it's happening, that you can't pull it back, because then you'll have the clutches of people behind, try and close up, anything like that. It's not great, is it? But like you say, everyone seems to be managing it okay. The temperature, I would say, has cooled down a little bit now.
I'd say a lot, mate.
You know, the sun's kind of gone away. There was a threat of rain still in the air, I think, nearer the end of the part of the day. But, you know, I think that, you know, these guys know what they need to do. It's the second race, the last race that these guys are going to be doing this weekend. So, you know, I think they've got it in hand.
Yeah, they're not silly, are they? And it's good to see that they're pounding around this temperature, though, for Mickey from Goodyear. He will want to, you know, get this race done while it's like this temperature-wise.
Yeah.
Right. This is quite an interesting interview. And it's Mr. Sargent in his Elantra. So, Luke Sargent, take it away with Andy Kewen.
Well, Luke, the day has finally arrived, your TCR UK debut here at Oulton Park. The first question I've got to ask you is, how are you feeling? You excited?
Excited, apprehensive, excited. Yeah, I've not driven the car very much, so it's getting used to it. We did a whole test over winter in the i30, then changed to the Elantra, so it's a whole new ball game, which is fun.
Well, I know you've been buzzing about this. I chatted to you back at the media day. You were raring to go. You've been doing a bit of racing recently. Tell the viewers at home a little bit about your sort of racing background so far.
Oh, it's not long. It's 2 Civic Cup races at Snetterton. Did a couple of the hot hatch races and racing a Porsche Boxster.
Okay.
Which was everything's at Snetterton so far. I know that quite well now. Everywhere else it's a newbie. So.
Well, you've come to a proper track now, that's for sure. Yeah. Oulton Park, brilliant circle. We'll chat about that in a moment or two. The car, though, familiar to you viewers at home, I'm sure. If you tuned in at Snetterton at the start of the season, they'll have seen some bloke called Josh Files pedalling this thing around. It's a quick car. He proved how well it goes. Does that add some extra pressure onto you now?
Yeah, everyone's going to be going to keep up with him. I'm like, no, He's driven this car last year in Europe, so he knows the car inside out. and I've got the setup that he uses, and it's getting used to how he drives the car and trying to. Yeah, it's a big car. It's a very big car, and so you got to rotate the car to make it fast, and it's having confidence to rotate it and be fast. So we're getting there. The times are getting better, but it's not something you can jump in and be quick straight away with, which is what I want to do, but it's just not happening at the moment.
Josh has got a few years' experience on you, though, I think it's fair to say. So let's take a look around the car then, shall we? Because it's a rare chance here on the test day we're filming this to get into the garages and really get up and close and personal with the cars. Luke, the Elantra, as you mentioned, much bigger car than most of the other cars on the grid. What sort of a difference does that make for driving style and for setting the thing up as well?
Braking in the i30, it squirrels around on the braking, where this gets longer, it brakes a lot easier. So you can go into the brakes and it stays straight, where the i30 tries to rotate, which is good for those guys. But for me, it's easier in this. Why I've kept this car and swapped from the i30, because my driving style suits this, but it's just getting used to making it fast. This has got to be edgy to be fast.
That's interesting. So, and that's because it's that little bit longer.
Yeah, you've got to rotate it to get it in and round. So that's, once you quick and you've got used to it, it's fast. But we're getting the setup changed through the day.
Now, for someone who spends a lot of time at motor racing tracks, as I'm lucky enough to do, I rarely get to look inside these things. So I wonder if, Luke, we can just get the camera in here as well. Talk us through a little bit about what's going on in here, because I'm sure to the casual viewers at home, there's a seat, there's a wheel, there's some pedals. It looks rather similar to their road car at home. It's a bit more complex than that, though, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of the buttons don't work. ABS we haven't got, drink we haven't got, radio we haven't got. We've got full course yellow, pit limiter, indicators, which I use a lot, and that's about it. There's a few bits of the steering sensitivity on the top right. You turn it and it changes how heavy the steering is. I'd leave it as I was told. I don't touch it. But yeah, it's a nice wheel to use. It's getting used to the wheel, which is, because the round wheel you can sort of do that. Where with this, it's a little bit different, but I'm used to it now, which is nice.
You sit a long way back as well, don't you? Is that weight distribution?
I sit where Josh sits. Wherever he has the seat, I have the seat. We're the same height, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
he give me a rollicking for having the seat too far back and being too far away. So I'll just put it where he has it, and I am quicker with it that way. So.
Right, okay.
So I'll just go with what the professional says.
That works then. Well, let's take another wander around the back of the car, shall we? Because as we've been saying, much longer car, and it's really at the back here where you start to notice that difference. Much bigger platform at the back. I want to talk to you a little bit, though, about aerodynamics, because we don't often think about this with TCR cars. They look more or less like a standard saloon car or hatchback on the road. They do have this rather large rear wing, and it's not just there for decoration, is it?
No, we were playing with it last week, putting it up and down and stuff, and it makes it a lot different under fast corners to help it rotate a little bit more. I just try and get in this car and drive it, and once we get to a point where we're getting no faster, we'll go and change it and make it faster again, and just that's how we're trying to evolve me getting faster in this car.
Last thing to chat about then, I guess, quite an important part of racing around a track is these things, wet tyres. We're not going to be needing them this weekend, I'm hoping. But round the front, we have got the slick tyres. These are going to be a talking point, I think, this weekend, aren't they? It's very hot. We're expecting the same again tomorrow. Is there anything you can do as a driver to try and protect these so that they can look after you later in the day?
Ask me that on Sunday. I've not got much experience on slicks. Luckily, it's going to be warm, so they're going to be warm already. So for me, it's easy to get heat into them and get going easier and quicker. Where I've used it over winter in cold weather and I was off all over the place. So thankfully, my first race in this car, it is warm, so they'll get warmer quicker, and we can hopefully make some positions up and do quite well.
Fantastic. Luke, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to show us around the car. Area Motorsport hoping for a better day, I think, here at Oulton Park than they had at Croft last time out. We'll see how they get on a bit later in the show. We'll be back here at Oulton Park after this short break.
We're live again.
Yeah, we are.
It's good, isn't it? It's glamorous, isn't
Good.
it, this job?
It's not bad.
Very glamorous.
Well, apart from the sunburn.
The lady's telling us it's Oulton Park, and this one is around 6, so that's lovely.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this one, mate. It's quite interesting, isn't it? So pole does start just here on the left-hand side. Look at the run they've got.
Yeah.
You can't actually see, because of the drop away, if we turn our camera around, because of the drop away, you can't really see where that right-hand corner goes.
Yeah.
But late brakes, Darryl Wilson on the front row. We were just having a little joke with Josh Files. I don't think Darryl is going to win this. The car isn't fast enough. Darryl is definitely fast enough. He's won races. How nervous will he be about this? Because you will be the cork in the bottle and people are going to be pushing on, aren't they?
Nerves, I don't think Darryl's got any nerves. You know, he's cool as a cucumber. You know, he'll know exactly what he needs to do. Yes, okay, the car might not have the waft that he needs, but he will certainly do his level best to try and keep that car exactly where it starts this race. Yeah. That will make it interesting, I suspect, going into this race. But, you know, again, we just don't know what he's going to plan. We can have a chat with him, see what he's going to plan. But, you know, it's going to be a tough one. What would you do going in towards turn 1? Because, I mean, like you say, it's a quick turn 1 as well. It's
yeah, and what you don't understand is, you know, if you're at home and you've not raced the car, is that, you know, this is an uphill part of the track. And if you get any wheel spin off the line, you're going to literally not drop back, but you're going to lose places. The last thing you want to be doing is going side by side into that first corner, because you'll just get biffed off onto the grass. So lose traction, lose more positions, could get turned around. It is very, very difficult to do. There's a gentleman that's in front of Nick to your left who is a good guy if we can speak to him. Does a lot with the championship. Follow me. This is Ash Gallagher. He's not really like speaking to me. I just want to ask him a couple of questions.
It's fine.
Ash has really, for me, stepped up this championship. Ash Gallagher, I know you don't like getting interviewed. You're in the shade, mate. Championship is looking so strong, and personally, I know you're a good guy. Literally, like, watch the dirt. But these shirts are amazing. They're a bit too white, but championship's looking strong, and I think everyone at TCR would like to say thank you to you. You've seemed to have got this to step up a level now.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. It's unusually kind of you to say, to be fair, but yeah, it'd be wrong of me to take a lot of credit for the step up. I only started in November. I've added a little bit of experience maybe from other paddocks. The job that Stuart and Nicky have done to get to this point has been fab, obviously, and we've got to give a lot of credit to the teams as well. The guys that carried over from last year and the new guys, they all come on this journey with us, and it's important for them to sort of buy into the concept, not just by buying kit, but come in and putting on a show and doing their job properly as well. So I think there's a lot of things that make it improve, and I'm a very small part of that, really, to be fair.
Well, that's a fair answer, mate, and I'm glad you said that, because some people might have gone, yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, it was me, mate. I did it all. But no, on a genuine note, I think the championship's amazing. It's great for me and AJ, people like that, to be involved and see that there's just a bit more guidance now, and it's a difficult championship to keep hold of and to push forward. And Stuart and Nicky do a great job, but it's good to have you on board, mate, and see this championship on the rise. Right, yeah. AJ, interesting that, isn't it?
It is. It's good to see. It's nice to see that the team effort that's been brought to TCR UK certainly has given it a new leg of life, I'd say, as it goes into this one. Right.
Definitely.
So let's start chatting. We haven't got Carl Boardley on the grid yet. He's still making his way. So while we wait, I spoke to him earlier on. Speak to him again. He's on the front row. He's in a Vauxhall. Let's see what he can do. We've got our man here who's working on the duct tape, who's got some massive jewellery around his neck. He's working on that one. Let's see if we can speak to Darryl, who's just getting in there. Darryl, you're looking like you're having fun there, taping something up to the side of your helmet. Not sure what that is, but looking good. Mate, you've got the front row on this one. You can see a clear run in towards turn 1. What's the game plan? Is it going to be try and hold on to it for the best you can?
Yeah, everybody knows that I get a good start off the line, so hopefully I can get off the line in front of him. And then in race 1, I had the pace, telling the truth. Only because my car started overheating, I backed off. And then came off, and then she had a 10-second penalty, so I managed to still get it on the front row. Keep a clear head and nobody runs into me. Yeah. I'll be okay, and I should be able to keep on the podium, hopefully.
Have you got the overheating issue fixed then now? Are you feeling that the car's ready?
Yeah, well, hopefully we've got the overheating problem fixed. Yeah, so we'll soon find out, won't we?
Yeah. Well, we will indeed, mate. Best of luck, safe drive, and yeah, we'll see you at the end of the race. Where's Paul? There he is, waving away in his shorts. Look at him, beautiful, beautiful, isn't he?
I love that. Where are you? Where have you gone? Where have you gone? Yeah, stood next to Jensen Brickley's car. Look how fast they're changing these tyres over. This is a really difficult job. Getting these rear tyres to the front is really, really difficult. Look how fast they're working. So many nuts to actually put on. And it's not just using the Milwaukee power gun. You've got to torque them up. So now spanner goes on. The car should go down. Car goes down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's torque setting. They have to do that to all of those wheels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's under pressure. But the job's done now, isn't it? I know you've got to check a few things, but how pleased are you with this boy? He's proper, isn't he?
Oh, he's done so well this first year in TCR. It's like, you know, to put it first, last round, and then starting row 3 or second row. So hopefully he can do something good from here.
I'm sure. How good is it to work with Mark Hunt as well? Proper guy.
Yeah, I worked with him for a bit down at Pyro when he was doing that, and you know, he's such a laugh as well. But he knows what he's doing, so it's a pleasure to work for.
It's good to see, isn't it? Jensen's definitely on the up, isn't he? We've got whistles, we've got all sorts going on. AJ, should we get off the grid?
I think we probably should. I wanted to have a chat with our man Joe, but yeah, like the whistles are blowing now. They're getting kicked off the grid. Mate, this is going to be a good one. This one, isn't it?
Should be good. Should be good. But listen, we need to stick to our guns, get this race underway. But let's go to an ad break, and when you come back, you are going to see the best thing in the world.
Ooh.
Do you wonder why your competitors' websites appear in Google searches ahead of you? Then make a call to the SEO experts Warrior and understand how your business can be more visible online. As the official marketing partner of TCR UK, you can now work with a trusted search engine optimization partner to increase web traffic, inquiries and sales. Speak to us for your free audit and quote by visiting warrior.co.uk today.
For voice and data solutions at speeds that are simply out of this world, choose Maximum Networks.
Well, the sun is shining, the Oulton Park circuit looks greater than ever, and we've got a reversed grid touring car race towards the end of the day. What more could we ask for here as round 6 of the TCR UK Championship gets ready to burst into life? This is a fascinating grid that we've got, as the guys down on the grid have been describing to you, with Carl Boardley drawn on pole position. After all those penalties that he picked up in the last race, it dropped him down to 10th in the result, and that gave him pole for race number 2. And well, every cloud, I guess, does have a silver lining, but can he now capitalise on that and claim his first victory in the championship? He'll start alongside the Vauxhall Astra of Darrell Wilson on row 1, and then Jensen Brickley will start third. Remember, he won this equivalent race at Croft a few weeks ago, beating, amongst others, Brad Hutchison, who led a couple of laps in the early stages in that second race up in the northeast. Row 3 is where we find Joe Marshall. He and Adam Shepherd, I think, both gunning for a podium here. They've both got the potential to do that, depending on how the start of the race goes. Row 4 then for Chris Smiley and Alex Lee, who I reckon has probably made a few setup changes after the car seemed to go away from him in the earlier race. Then, back end of the top 10, of course, we find our top 2 chargers from the earlier race, Jack Constable and Bruce Winfield, to complete the top 10. And then, on the outside looking in, as far as the grid reversal went, it is Jonathan Beeson and Luke Sargent enjoying the Elantra, I suspect, on this his first weekend of TCR action. Then Rick Kerry and Matthew Wilson, who briefly found himself off the road in the earlier race. They start on row 7 together. Row 8 for Oliver Cottam and Darren Lewis. And we now start getting into those who had dramas in the earlier race. Now, 17th on the grid should have been Bradley Kent. He wasn't on the grid, but he is lined up at the end of the pit lane. So after his crash down at Knickerbrook earlier on, he's going to take the start from the pit lane. Gary Townsend will be alone then on row 9. George Heeler and Callum Newsham hopefully together on the next row of the grid, although Callum's car, remember, did stop out on track, didn't it, in the early race. Not sure whether he's made it out onto the grid or not. Scott Sumpton should be there. Steve Gales also starting from the pit lane after his qualifying crash ruled him out of race 1. So cars making their way around then. Paul O'Neill-Joyce in the box once again, and Paul, this should be an eventful race, I suspect.
Yeah, it should be. Steve Gales having a nightmare. Obviously, he was in the barrier, wasn't he, at Druids? Just a quick one before I forget. Alex Lee's dad spoke to me just in the pit lane and said right front brake ducting disappeared from the car early on. Overheating brakes, they think. That's why he was snatching front brakes, and that's why he ended up going from the lead into 3rd place.
And it was that right front corner we saw locking into Druids, into the hairpin a couple of times. That makes sense. Oh, that is Callum Newsham's car expiring smokily in the background, I think, on the way to the Lodge corner. Now that's going to be, I suspect, a delayed start because that car was still partly on the road. And poor old Callum Newsham. It was his birthday recently, wasn't it? But he won't be in a celebrating mood right now. He has had a day to forget.
That's so sad. Nobody deserves that, but especially not the Newsham family. They worked so hard to get that car out there. What's going to happen here? Is there a start delay? There's no way. Yeah.
Have to be, won't there? That car is...
I recognise that helmet of that safety car driver. I don't know if it's Ray Grimes.
Could be. His local track, isn't it, this one? For the Northwest local. They've started the race, by the way. The race is getting underway. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but anyway, off they go, and it's a demon start by Jensen Brickley. Jensen Brickley on the inside of Darren Wilson and Brad Hutchison. Boardley will lead the way. Brickley tried to break through into second. They're 3 wide. That's never going to work. But they somehow managed to make it work. Alex Lee gets elbowed out wide there by one of the Audis. That was Constable, I think. And they all get cleanly through the first corner. But let's hope they can get that car moved out of the way on the run into Lodge Corner. The rest of them down through Cascades for the first time, though. Perfect start for Boardley. And actually Wilson back into second with Hutchison third. So something happened to Brickley on the exit of Old Hall Corner.
Wow, fair play, Darrell Wilson. I did not have you down for that, mate. Fair play. Look at him. He's really pushing along. He's cracking on now, isn't he? I had Carl Boardley down for, if you do not win, you are silly. Look at it, proper. Is that Joe Marshall?
It is. Yeah, up the inside of Brickley, but boxed in behind Hutchison. Smiley coming up the inside of Adam Shepherd behind as well. It's all getting very busy. Into the chicane they go. Safety car called. I mean, yeah, they had to, didn't they? There's a car on the track, and Marshall trying to push it out of the way, and possibly fluid on the circuit as well. So Brickley will lead them to a safety car board at the top of Clay Hill, and that was rather predictable, I am afraid. The only option that they had, having started the race, was to throw a safety car. A bit surprised in the way they didn't delay the start. But anyway, Boardley got a good launch, and Darrell Wilson up for the fight.
The only thing I can think of why they've not delayed that is because that car looked very pushable out the way by the time the cars got round to Druids. I think they gambled and it's gone a bit wrong, which could have went even wronger as we've seen safety car boards going up a hill. So not ideal that, but anyway, we crack on and hopefully we get this out of the way. That could have caught fire or anything, that car actually. It's when you park it on dry grass like that, it's not ideal, is it? Look at the damage there. Kent's already got damage, second from last car at the back there. Right front, he's had a bit of contact already, and he hasn't even passed anyone, has he?
No, I don't think. Well, he's passed Steve Gales. I think Gales was ahead of him in the pit lane. So
maybe he's passed him in the pit lane, along the wall.
Either way, I think Gales had his elbows out, didn't he, to try and defend that place. So 1 lap, most of it done, and the green flag is completed. Carl Boardley leads, Darrell Wilson second, Hutchison third, Marshall fourth, and Jensen Brickley down to fifth after a really good start. Looked like he was going to get into second. He actually ends up losing a spot or two by the end of lap 1. Shepherd next ahead of Chris Smiley, then Alex Lee, Bruce Winfield and Jack Constable 10th. So Constable, the loser of our podium finishes from the earlier race, he's dropped back behind Bruce Winfield. Not ideal that for that Rob Boston racing car, but the other one, Joe Marshall, right in the conversation here for a race win.
Definitely. So yeah, not great. Not great, the start of that. I mean, they did have time to call it, and that car was like we seen on screen, it was being pushed away, and we just nearly missed the start because I think even our director didn't think it was going to start. To be fair, but at least we've seen them got away. Go back to the race. Carl Boardley in the lead. If he doesn't win this, I will be very surprised. Darrell and Brad are definitely going to be corks in bottles. There's no way in those cars, and this is no disrespect to the drivers or the cars massively, they're just Generation 1 cars that will struggle to keep on to the coattails of a tin top, I don't say legend, but it's just old. No, joking, a bit of a tin top legend. He really can win this race because all he needs to do is look in his mirrors and think, the next person that can attack me is Joe Marshall, but I think it'd be difficult to get past those two unless the safety car pulls them out together. Wow, what's that? The Marshalls are running up to something in the middle of the road. That looks like brake ducting again. See that in the middle? Is it a wing there?
Let's see when the Marshall picks it. It's quite light.
That's brake ducting.
Do you think?
Wow, that is brake ducting. It looked like a hose, like quite a wide hose. So that's somebody's brake ducting again. And that is the last thing you need around here, brake ducting disappearing from your car.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, we're not sure whose that is. That's George Heeler's Audi leaving the pit lane. So we have 20 of them still running, I think. Newsham's car's still there, and they haven't got a recovery vehicle to that car yet, so it's going to take another lap at least to get it out of the way. So a frustrating start to the race for everyone here, really, but perhaps not so for Carl Boardley. The more this safety car eats into the race distance, the less defending he has to do. It's people like Joe Marshall, Jensen Brickley, Adam Shepherd and those further back who wanted every lap of green flag racing possible to try and make progress towards the front of the pack. But anyway, Boardley comes through as the race leader. And, of course, led every lap of the opening race at Croft, only to be penalised for track limits. So we know he's got the pace to lead from the front and win races. The question is whether or not he can do that here today. So another lap at least behind the safety car gives us some time to go down to the pit lane for an update from Anthony.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'm down at the bottom end of the pit lane. Georgina's just gone back out onto the track. A lot of front end damage. Obviously, you don't know what's happened because you've not seen, but any damage to report?
There was damage on the wheel, so I'm assuming he's hit somebody or something.
Something?
Yeah.
Or someone?
Yeah, or someone, yeah. So, I don't know. I won't know till the end of the race, but yeah, it's back out. That's all that matters, isn't it?
He's back out. I don't think he's a lap down either.
No. Safety cars work for us there, so yeah, all good.
You've got away with it. Cool. All right, then. We'll leave you to it. Watch the stream. All that. Fun. Boys, back up to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anthony. So, safety car leading them around gives George Heeler an opportunity to close back in. This is good news, though. They've got the Callum Newsham car out of the way. As long as it's not dropping fluid, which I can't see that it is, we should be...
Isn't that the way you used to indicate when it was like 1901?
Well, I think all of the electrical power on that truck is being directed to the flashing lights. Maybe the indicators don't work on it anymore, and the driver's letting Callum Newsham know where he's going. It's heading into the pit lane is where it's going, so it should be well out of the way in the next few moments.
It's like something off that film, Cars, isn't it? That thing? Like, you think it's got a face on it as well?
You've spent far too much time in the sun today, Paul. Thanks, mate. Through tricks they come with Carl Boardley then about to try and execute a race restart with Darrell Wilson and Brad Hutchison in tow. Wilson up for the fight here. I do tend to agree with you. Boardley, based on what we've seen so far this weekend, should have the pace over Wilson, but if Darrell has half a chance at putting the pressure on him for even half a lap or so, I think he'll do that. When does Boardley go? He's backing the field up, waiting. Now he's gone underneath the bridge, gone early. That caught Darrell Wilson out, but Joe Marshall on his toes. You can't overtake yet, Joe, as much as you'd like to. Needs to concentrate on a good exit there from Lodge Corner. Boardley has bolted, though. Wilson second. The battle really on for third as they retake the green flag.
Wow, that is a majestic start. Boardley just absolutely pinned that, nailed it. Now you can start to overtake once you've got past that strike mark. Wilson down the inside of Rick Kerry. Great move, beautiful.
Yeah, really good move that on Rick Kerry then, the former BMW man moving aside as Adam Shepherd's car gets more and more sideways every time we see it, it seems. He's all over the back of Jensen Brickley here in the fight for 5th place. Track limits? What track limits? Callum Newsham back in the pit lane. Disastrous day for the whole team, unfortunately. No points from Oulton Park for someone who was really looking to challenge for the title this year. Out of the Island hairpin they go. Top two breaking away.
Darrell Wilson is catching Carl Boardley. That is proper.
Yeah. He is on it, isn't he, on this restart. In the background, look, Constable was up the inside of Bruce Winfield. He's back up the inside of Bruce Winfield into the chicane, but Bruce fends him off for now. You're right, though. Daryl Wilson in the opening sector was a tenth quicker than Carl Bordley. The middle sector, I think he's taking even more time, although didn't have a great run through the chicane. So, no, Bordley does now gap him by a tenth or so. Joe Marshall sets a purple sector on this first full flying lap of the race as he tries to get past Brad Hutchison. I think that Joe Marshall's race here hinges on how quickly he can get past Hutchison, because if he does it before the top two escape, the win is still on the cards.
Yeah, Joe Marshall wants to win at his home event.
Yeah.
You know, that is what he needs to do and what he's trying to do, and what hopefully, if he can get past a couple of cars in front of him, he'll be able to do. This next 5 minutes is going to be crucial, like you just said. There's all sorts going on, though, and Carl Bordley now pulls the fastest lap out the back.
Yeah, but only about 2/10 quicker in the end than Daryl Wilson that time. Adam Shepherd, meanwhile, asking some questions now of Jensen Brickley, again, as they head into Cascade. I don't know how he drives the car like that. To me, this looks absolutely terrifying, watching Adam Shepherd, especially around a track like this. I know it's quick, but Paul, he must be hanging on by the skin of his teeth.
But yeah, the only problem, it's great for the front tyres because it really keeps them in prime position, and you know, for the end of the race. But he just has the thing on its nose, on its toes, and it does look like a handful, but he's fast. So, you know, there's not many people who can drive a car like that. As you can still see cars with windows down because of the heat. And now Bordley is starting to get into his stride a bit now.
Well, 10th and a half slower than Daryl in the first sector again. It's that first part of the lap where the Astra is working really well through the high-speed stuff and then the tight hairpin. Through the chicane, that seems to suit the Cooper, doesn't it? Has a good front end, changes direction well, and that's where the Astra struggles a little bit. Hutchison, if anything, coming back at Wilson now slightly. So second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth, nose to tail, and then Chris Smiley again, not with an abundance of pace here, and he's got the two Area Motorsport Hyundais now queuing up behind him.
Yeah, there's headlights ablaze now. Hutchison can see that Daryl Wilson's coming at him, and coming at Alex Lee is Bruce Winfield, and yeah, this is battle royale. Josh Fowles said to me, I've told Bruce if he doesn't get a podium in this race not to bother coming in the pit lane. I was like, all right, mate.
They are high expectations, aren't they, around this place of all, but he is ninth. He's gained one place, crucially against one of the championship rivals that he's got, Jack Constable. Fastest lap set by Brad Hutchison, meanwhile, so quicker than the leader that time. There isn't a huge amount of separation anywhere in this lead group, is there, until you get back to Chris Smiley, although Hutchison didn't have a great exit there from Cascades, drops back slightly from the Vauxhall again, at the part of the circuit where we know Wilson has been running well. Brickley there having a nibble at the back of Joe Marshall's Audi, struggling to make progress.
Right, Daryl Wilson is now struggling. I think that if he's not careful through this part of the circuit where the rear beam on the Astra is pretty draconian, the car is very old, it struggles to get the change of direction through in the exit, but the Bundit car is looking fast, and it's starting to just gap.
Oh, that's Lee! That's Lee! Something's broken!
It's the right front wishbone!
He's hit the tyres, hasn't he? I think that's what Brad Kent did in the earlier race. He's hit the tyres down at Knickerbrook, and Alex Lee is out of the race. Did well to save that right in front of the championship leader as well, Bruce Winfield, who did well to avoid, but that is such an easy mistake to make if that's what he's done, and clip that tyre stack down at Knickerbrook corner. I've seen countless drivers do that. Adam Shepherd did it yesterday in testing and ripped the corner off his car as well, but that is Lee out of the race.
Two things. This could be a safety car.
Yep.
And it also could be a lift because they can't pull that car. That is a front right splitter.
Yeah.
I would say you're dead right. I reckon he's actually tagged to the right of the shot. The tyre stack that usually is, it's been hit.
Yeah, it's on the curb now, isn't it? It shouldn't be that close to the edge of the track.
Easy to do, mate.
Yeah.
Easy to do. It's been hit quite hard. So there's two things. Is it a safety car? Does it need a lift? And do they need to move that tyre stack? Anyway, we're still racing.
For now, we are, as Bradley Kent sets the fastest lap of the race. How's Bradley getting on? Brad is in 12th place, not bad for the pit lane, but we do now go safety cars. So, Carl Bordley's 1.3 second lead evaporates in a moment. And okay, we lose a few laps of racing, but this will just reinvigorate Daryl Wilson, I think, in his charge for a race victory. Daryl has had one podium finish in TCR UK history. I'm trying now to remember when it was. I think it was back in 2019 or so, when there were 5 or 6 cars on the grid.
I would say he's won at Castle Coombe, I remember.
Did he win a race? I don't remember.
Won a race. He got, someone got disqualified.
You are absolutely spot on. Well done. I have slept since then. It was at least 2 years ago. It was 2021. You're absolutely right. Yeah, Max Hart won the race on the road, but was disqualified for a tech infringement. So well remembered.
Why do I know that? That's mental. Well, it's not. It's just because, one, Daryl's a good lad. Two, I like his dad Les even better. And three, I remember him running past me like the most excited man in the world when Max had been disqualified. He wasn't obviously happy about Max being disqualified, but he was just happy that he'd won a race. Do you know what I will say? Just let me say, Darrell and Brad Hutchison, I hope you finish on the podium, because what you've just shown me throws everything out the window that I said about Gen 1 cars. Darrell has looked good enough to win this race. Brad has looked fast enough to give Darrell a run for his money as well. They both deserve to be on this podium. They both deserve to have a crack at winning this. And I hope that this safety car will actually give them a bit of a breather, give the tyres a breather on the Gen 1 cars to maybe launch an attack, because Boardley is kind of stroking it home a bit here. But if Darrell gets anywhere near him, he will pounce.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's got nothing to lose, really, Darrell. He's not a championship contender exactly. He runs on a limited budget and just wants to try and get some silverware if he can. And Brad Hutchison the same, of course, as Brad has never won a TCR UK race. He's twice been on the podium, but never on the top step of it, so he's not going to back out of the fight either. To be fair, no one in that lead group will, really. Either Joe Marshall, who you documented, wants the win here at his home track. Jensen Brickley wants to try and double up on the win that he had last time. So everyone in this lead group has plenty of incentive to get stuck in as and when we go racing again, which I'm hopeful will not be too far away. We'll find out in a moment when they get down to Nickenbrook how the recovery is going on, but we have another lap after this. Maybe we'll have 7 minutes or so of racing, so not long for Boardley to hang on at the front, but he will be particularly keen to do so given the way his season's gone so far.
Yeah, the Bondit Audi Gen 1 of Brad's, that car usually goes very well around Snetterton. I think he's had a podium there in the Audi.
Hutchison,
yeah, Hutchison, and yeah, won in Mini Challenge round there. But he's definitely don't count him as a one-trick pony. He definitely isn't that, and it's good to see him, in my eyes, back where he belongs up front. I couldn't imagine how hard it is to keep up with these new Generation 2 cars, but also have a movement of the BMW. Chris Mann is a champion.
Yeah.
There's 2 places behind him. That's an arty shot, isn't it? Alpha Live have obviously Alpha Live have got too much time on their hands.
Brilliant job, by the way. And a shout out to the camera ops, first of all, who've been stood outside baking all day long in the sun. Luckily, this camera op, I think the reason we're getting the good shots from Druids is this is the one camera op who's got a little bit of shade, so they've not gone completely mad by this point of the day. But the rest of them have been out there in the baking hot sunshine all day long, providing us with some fantastic coverage.
I've got a feeling that camera's just locked off and he's actually sat. He's just got it on lock off and he's sat in. He's probably having a few beers in the woods there.
He is not going to thank you for giving the game away there, Paulie. Fantastic stuff. But no, brilliant job by the TV crew running 2 separate streams all day long. Everything condensed into one day. It's hard work to do. And of course, the other group of people we have to give a shout out to for similar reasons, the marshals, because imagine what it's like. We touched upon this earlier on in the day. I nipped outside for all of 30 seconds or so earlier on, just before this race started. 30 seconds was enough for me out in the sunshine in shorts and a t-shirt. The marshals are out there, they're fireproof overalls, they're on post, they're on red alert the whole time as well. They're not just sat there watching the racing, they're ready to move at the first sign of drama, and they do such a professional job, come rain or shine. And on days like this, they really do deserve every bit of thanks we can give them.
Yeah, they are. They're absolutely amazing. Love them to bits, and they do such a good job. And the great thing is as well, just to say, please go on the BMMC website or just type in marshals, have a look. We've got some great people that are doing a taster day today. I actually interviewed a few of them before, and they're cracking people. Marshals, you do a great job. Thank you very much. And I reckon we can maybe speak to Les, who is Darrell's dad, and he's actually a good friend of mine as well, because he's spanned me. So yeah, we're going to go down to the pit lane, see what Les has got to say to AJ.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, down here in the pit lane with Darrell's dad, Les. Well, your boy's there sitting in P2 currently. Was he 6 years in the sport? He's only had one other podium. Is that right?
Yeah, that's one. No, in TCR.
Yeah, in TCR. Yeah, that's what I mean.
We've done other things like and stuff. Yeah, no, it's all right.
How are you feeling though with him there?
it's just normal. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm okay. Yeah, no problem.
Cool as a cucumber, like you say.
Used to it. Used to it.
Like you say, it's a tough old race that he's got out there. He was complaining of overheating earlier on. He said he got that sorted, so yeah. And
we hope so. We don't know. We don't know. So.
Well, it's still looking good though.
Yeah, it was looking good before, but you had to slow down and back them up a bit and then take off. So yeah, he was playing it smart. So.
What would it mean to you guys for him to come away with another podium? Maybe even a win.
Maybe a win. You never know. You never know. But yeah, I mean, we like it. We like the sport, so you know, we do it all the time.
Best of luck, mate. All the best. All the best. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Anthony. Great to hear there from Les, who will, I'm sure, be chewing his fingernails now because Darrell is about to get a second go at a restart here to try and go after Carl Boardley, and he's done a better job of it this time, hasn't he? He's gone with Boardley very much so as we get ready to go racing. There'll be just over 6.5 minutes to go. Only a handful of laps left in round 6 of the TCR UK Championship. The race leaders across the line. Can Darrell Wilson pull off the impossible feat and challenge Carl Boardley for a race win? Through Old Hall Corner they will go down the avenue. Chris Smiley there defending from Bruce Winfield. Positions for the time being staying as they are, Paul.
Wow, well, did you think that Darrell was going to let this one go? He's wise to that restart, and it looks now he's right into the back of the leader. This could be close on the exit of Cascades. Is he going to have enough to make him defend? Darrell has got a chance. He's got a chance. Is he going to go for the lunge? Will he just hold back? It's going to be an interesting one. Round the outside, Joe Marshall trying to make a move on Hutchison. Is that
Brickley?
It's Brickley. Oh, look at that. Braille pass. Go on, son.
Well, you will leave the door open, Joe, says Jensen. Straight through the gap he went. He's got the inside line out for the chicane as Wilson is right on the back of Boardley. Really sticking with him now. What can Brickley do for fourth? He's leaning on Marshall, and around goes Marshall. Joe Marshall spins at the chicane. Smiley across the grass as well. You can see that coming a mile off. Neither of them wanted to give an inch, and unfortunately it's the local man in the Audi who ends up pointing the wrong way. Brickley goes through, Shepherd likewise. Winfield gains a place out of all of that too. But look at the race leaders. Darrell Wilson has got a genuine shot now at claiming his second ever victory in the championship. But if he makes a move on Boardley, it has to be decisive and it has to be clean.
Yeah, but where's he strong? He looks strong out of Cascades, turn 2. That old Astra doing amazing things, and Boardley has really got the pressure put on him now. He's taking curbs, he's running wide over track limits. He's got to be careful as the leader. Darrell looks like he could strike. Why not? Give it a go, Darrell.
Rick Kerry to the pit lane. That delayed Luke Sargent slightly as there Chris Smiley defends from Jack Constable. Jack Constable now challenging for 7th whilst Bruce Winfield into the top 6. There's something about Bruce Winfield this year. Things just seem to be panning out for him, don't they? He's up into the top 6 and could yet get into the top 5 before the flag because he's chasing down this battle between Jensen Brickley and Adam Shepherd. Down the back straight they go and hard onto the brakes. Darren Lewis also retiring to the pit lane it seems, but that is no bother for the race leaders who turn their way out of the Island hairpin. Top 3 separating slightly now. The battle's really raging on behind.
Can you stop saying hard onto the brakes, please? Anyway, moving swiftly on. I'm well impressed with these runners. Wilson and Hutchison are my heroes at the minute. How they're doing this, I don't know. But look, Brad Kent, this is proper stuff. And Matt Wilson has held him off for nearly a full lap. And I didn't think that would happen, to be fair, because Brad's proper fast, and Matt, you know, he's holding his own. Go on, son.
Yeah, we don't often see Matt Wilson within the top 10, I think it's fair to say. Great to see him up there on merit too. He's gained quite a few places from where he started, but so has Bradley Kent, who started from the pit lane. His championship now potentially has gone, but he just wants to try and get some good results if he can. Trim flailing from the Veloster as he peeks to the inside into Lodge Corner. Doesn't quite commit to the move, but Wilson sidesteps anyway, lets him go, and that was quite gentlemanly driving really from Matt Wilson, who didn't put up too much of a fight.
Yeah, that was actually really... That was a bit too nice, to be fair, from Matt. I'd have had the door shut and squeezed up against the apex, but Matt's not like that. He's actually a lovely guy, and he's a lovely driver. Fast enough, but that'll do him the world of good battling with someone of that calibre.
Adam Shepherd battling with someone of some real calibre as well. Now his teammate Bruce Winfield in the battle to be the best of the area Hyundais. Winfield has got the bonus point for fastest lap in his back pocket as well now, so it's a really good scoring day this for the championship leader Bruce Winfield, who turns out of the hairpin and climbs up and over Hilltop. 3 minutes to go, so going to be close, but we might just get 2 more laps out of this at the end of this one, and that's not good news for Adam Shepherd, who is dropping away from Jensen Brickley and really coming under fire now from his teammate. Chris Smiley likewise feeling the heat now from Jack Constable, and they'll both have a rapid Bradley Kent on their tail before long.
Yeah, definitely. And still a lot of battles up and down. That's Jonathan Beeson coming through his shot in the Golf, and he's got Gary Townsend behind him. Wow, that Golf still goes well, doesn't it?
Was a good track for the Golfs, this. Dan Lloyd won when he was here in his season, when he won the championship. We saw obviously Isaac Smith running well here a year ago too, as the gap for second to third suddenly starts to creep down. Now, Brad Hutchison's in a really difficult position here. He's catching Darrell Wilson. I think he's quick enough to have a go for second place. The risk here is that he ends up, as we both had a heart attack then, because a Cupra dived for the pit lane just ahead of the race leader. It wasn't Bordley, it was Rick Kerry in the similarly liveried older spec Cupra. Right, breathe a sigh of relief. Yeah, Brad Hutchison, he's going to be tempted here to have a go at Darrell Wilson. What I hope doesn't happen for him is that he has a go at Darrell and opens the door for Jensen Brickley, because we've seen from Brickley already in this race, if you leave the door open, he's going to go through that gap.
Yeah, definitely. I would rather it stay like this, just being very biased actually, because I like the two lads in the Gen 1 cars. Oh, Brickley! Oh, that won't do any favours to the traction for the Hutchison Bondit Audi. That he won't be happy with that. That was a little bit of a tag, that, wasn't it, coming out of there? But yeah, I think Darrell may have the speed in a straight line just to fend off the attack, but Hutchison was definitely catching him then, wasn't he? But I'd say Bordley has definitely got this one.
Yeah, Bordley now starting to streak away. I think we are going to have one lap to go at the end of this one, so really it's the lower podium places that are up for grabs. Bruce Winfield desperately trying to tag along with this group as well, but regardless what happens, he's going to have a nice championship lead, albeit a reduced one now over Carl Bordley, as those two once again. Oh, that is Oliver Cottam. Now that's his second engine of the weekend, and I wonder if they might be on a third before they head to Knockhill.
That's not good, that. It really is not good. They've worked so hard to get that engine in there. Hopefully it's just a leak of some sort, and it's not caused too much damage, but with that fire extinction there, that's a nightmare to try and get cleaned out. This is hot enough, Andy. This is going to be one immense lap.
Yeah, last lap of the race then. Round 6 of the TCR UK Championship. 5 of them fighting for the lower podium places. What order do they all come out in at the end of the lap? Out of Cascades they go. Bruce Winfield, it's the last lap, I suppose. Who cares now about track limits? Right over the painted runoff area he will go. Anyone going to make a dive into the hairpin? Darrell Wilson just gets the Astra turned into the corner. Brickley again tapping Morse code onto the tail of the Bondit Blue Audi. Over the hill they go, and it's Winfield actually with the run on Shepherd in the background. Couldn't quite get up the inside and perhaps cut his teammate a bit of a break. Down onto the brakes now into Hislop. Yet again, Paul, it's all going to come down to Lodge Corner.
It is, and I'm just hoping and praying that it just stays like this, because the two Gen 1 cars, if you've got a Gen 1 car, you're basically punching. You're basically punching, and maybe you haven't got the money to go, you know, into a Gen 2. Carl Bordley, you've been magnificent. I'll tell you who's been better, these two lads now coming through in second and third.
And I think Darrell Wilson, a real shout for driver of the day for my money, if he can hang on for one more corner. Down into Lodge they go. I don't think Hutchison's quite close enough. It is going to be a third career podium for Hutchison, a second for Darrell Wilson, but a first career victory in TCR UK for Carl Bordley. He becomes the 5th different winner from the first 6 races this year, and this one, as far as we know, he will get to keep. Second goes to Darrell Wilson, third Brad Hutchison. Really good field of stories there. Jensen Brickley in 4th, Shepherd 5th, then Winfield, Smarling, Constable, Kenton, Wilson, and well, I don't know which of those top 3 teams are going to be the happiest, Paul.
Oh, that's great. I love Les to bits. He worked so hard. He worked on one of my race cars when it was just, you know, it was never going to get fixed. The guy put an engine in my car, got me back out for the last race of the day. Love him to bits. Carl Bordley, made up for you, mate. This will mean more than anything to it. I might wind it. Look, he's going over track limits for a lap. He's not trying to pick up stuff. I reckon he's done that for a giggle, and the marshals love that. That is my favourite top 3. Love them lads, well done.
Yeah, that's a really nice story, and a clean race as well. They kept it clean. There were a few times there where Darrell could have lunged Carl in the early stages, where Brad could have had a go at Darrell and made contact. They avoided doing that. A good, clean, hard touring car race that, and yeah, in the end, the driver perhaps who many people tipped to win the race did win the race, but that doesn't really do that one justice. A couple of drivers won't be so happy. I'm sure Joe Marshall on that list with his disappointment after the spin, but Carl Bordley
will be ecstatic. He was already second in the championship. He'll now narrow the margin ever further to Bruce Winfield after his first win in the championship. Darrell Wilson for DW Racing in second. The bondit with MPHR Audi of Brad Hutchison joins him in the top three. Then Jensen Brickley and Adam Shepherd. Good point scoring day for Shepherd. But Bruce Winfield, what more can you say about Bruce? A race win earlier on, and now he picks up 22 points he'll get for that one, because he finishes in sixth position, but with the fastest lap as well. Then it was Chris Smiley in 7th, 8th Jack Constable, 9th Bradley Kent from the pit lane, and 10th place for Matt Wilson. Then it was Luke Sargent just missing out on the top 10 in his second ever TCR UK race. Jonathan Beeson 12th, Gary Townsend 13th, and George Healer in 14th position. Then Joe Marshall, who might be having words with Jensen Brickley after their collision down at the chicane. Oliver Cottam in 16th, ahead of Steve Gale 17th. Then Rick Kerry, Darren Lewis were non-finishers. So too Alex Lee, after tagging the tyre stack, we suspect, down at Knickerbrook Corner, with Callum Newsham not even making the start. Well, drama aplenty in that one. By my rough maths, it's now a 29-point advantage for Bruce Winfield over Carl Boardley, but with getting on for 90 points available per race weekend, it's certainly all to play for still. And of course, at the next round of the championship, we head north of the border up to Knockhill, only the second time that TCR UK has visited Scotland, and that will be a triple header. So we'll have 3 races. Every year we tend to have 1 triple header. This year it's up at Knockhill, 1 race with qualifying on the Saturday, and then 2 races on the Sunday. So more points available there at a track that the majority of this grid have not raced at before, or at least in TCR competition. So that could really mix things up, and I wonder whether we'll still be talking about Bruce Winfield versus Carl Boardley for the championship lead as we head back from Scotland. But for the time being, Boardley will be very, very happy with that. And in a way, the points are nice, but getting the race win was what he really wanted. And Bruce Winfield knows now he's going to have a fight on his hands this year. Great to see Wilson and Hutchison on the podium as well. Gutted, though, for Alex Lee. That's tiniest of mistakes that he made down at Knickerbrook Corner. So many drivers have made it. As I said, Adam Shepherd did yesterday. I suspect that's what did for Bradley Kent in the earlier race too. And it's just so easy to tag that tyre stack, and it has disastrous consequences if you do. Ripped the right front corner off the Hyundai. Took him out of the race, really, for Alex Lee. Maybe now that is his championship chances starting to slip away too. There is Carl Boardley turning into the winner's enclosure there down at the end of pit lane. And I can't wait to see the reaction from Carl, who's done a lot of winning in his career, a lot of it on short ovals, before moving into the British Touring Car Championship. He's done some Ginetta racing over the years as well, but has been tempted over to TCR UK. More tempted to take most of the credit for that earlier on. You to believe him, that's up to you. But either way, Carl, I'm very happy, was tempted into TCR competition, gets out of the car, and, well, a typical Carl Boardley reaction, really. He's not the most exuberant of celebrators, clearly, but he's going to be happy underneath that helmet, I'm sure. Carl Boardley, a winner in TCR UK, the 5th different winner of the season so far, and he's down there now, ready to catch up with Paul O'Neill.
Oh, my word. What a race. My favourite ever podium, I think this is. Too many things to talk about. Carl Boardley, best thing about that race was the finish, and the best thing about the second corner that we've seen after the finish line was you just going all over track limits to find pickup.
That wasn't ironic at all.
How good does that feel, mate?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, can't.
Headbutt from Brad Hutchison there.
Yeah, the day was going a little bit awry at one point, obviously. Quali didn't go right. We seemed to struggle when the sun came out. We seemed to really struggle with the car. We were a lot quicker when it was cooler. But testimony to the boys, they made a few adjustments to the car that time. It was as fairly simple and plain sailing as you're going to get, really. Darrell kept me honest at times, especially on the restarts and stuff like that. So, yeah, all good. I'm over the moon, happy for the boys, and it's about time I got back to see this number one again.
I know Nick pretty well, and he was pointing at the board saying...
Everybody knows Nick really well.
He was pointing at the board saying, it's a real one, it's a real one. How much does it mean, and how concerned were you about Darrell behind you? He pushed you hard, to be fair, mate.
Yeah, he did. Fair play to him. He had good pace. But it's one of those, you just get your head down, don't you? You know how it is. You just make sure you hit every braking point, every apex, get back on the throttle nice, make sure you get the good exit, and if you do that, then you're pretty much going to be untroubled.
Well, it was amazing to see. Tom Walker Memorial winner, and also Goodyear Diamond Trophy winner too, mate. Couldn't get any better.
Clean sweep.
Clean sweep, mate. Well done to you. Well done to you boys as well. Well done. My fave ever podium. Amazing. Where's Darrell gone? Where is he? Oh, here he is. Follow me. He's run off. Look at this. This is like, honestly, it's like the best podium I've ever seen. Brad, come in as well. Second and third. Mate, what a result. The Gen 1 boys have proper handed it to the lads. How difficult was that? I was like, he won't get on the podium. It's going to be difficult in the old car. He nearly won the race.
Yeah, I think if I got off the line better, I reckon I could have had the win. But I got off the line kind of bad. So, yeah, I'm happy with it. We're staying out there. Once you're up the front, and not messing around with the people at the back, it's easier to stay up there. Yeah. So I just need to get my qualifying done properly now, and so I can be up there more often. But yeah, thank you for all the team, all the lads who helped me and my dad, putting a lot of time into it. Yeah, it's amazing.
It was amazing. First restart was absolutely awful. Second restart, mate, I thought, my word, he's going to have a chance here, and you were on the back of him, but I'm not going to be disrespectful, but the Astra just isn't strong enough, is it, in the areas it needs to be strong?
Yeah, like, okay, if through all the tight bits, like the hairpin where I was leaking out on him, I was betting on him on the brakes, and I could go in there, but I just couldn't get it turned in. And he was just pulling me through there, all the back, I was catching him and everywhere, with just that hairpin, I was losing too much time, so yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you how well he did. We interviewed your dad, Les. That's how well you did, mate.
Yeah, well, you know, he put a lot of time and effort into it, so I must say thank you to my dad. And yeah, and hopefully in Knockhill I can do the same again.
Well, your dad's helped me out at Knockhill too, so go and celebrate, catching the podium, absolutely amazing. Honestly, Brad, it's my favourite top three I've had for ages. Like, literally, I love you guys, and you know, I thought you were on for P2 as well. You were really starting to push Darrell, but did you just think, I just want a podium?
Yes and no. The car got a bit hot. It started flashing lights at me. Obviously, it's a hot day. I know a lot of people have been struggling with cooling, and yeah, it was like dinosaurs were up front, weren't they? It was quite nice having some of the old stuff up front, but yeah, it just shows, you know, you can still fight with it, you know, even though it's reverse grid. I'm still happy, and yeah, I get to spray some champagne, which hopefully will cool me down. So yeah.
Hey, listen, what does it say about the championship when we can have Gen 1 cars not just getting on the podium and defending, like Gen 1 cars battling for the lead and second place?
Yeah, I think it's in touring car nature, isn't it, to have a reverse grid, and it's always. That's the draw to touring cars, really, isn't it? The reverse grid, you know, it's what it's famous for, and it's clearly working well because we were there on merit, realistically, weren't we? I mean, it was a battle, but we were there at the start. Thank you very much. We were there at the start, and yeah, we held it. So yeah, it's good. Obviously, I need to thank the list of sponsors, but more importantly than all Bondit and everyone like that, the marshals today. I don't know how they're doing it. There's not a lot of shade out there, and I don't know. They must be drinking plenty of water, but we all owe them a lot for today.
Good for you for saying that, mate. The most important person here is around. It's actually Nikki Lines, who kind of runs the championship and owns it, and she's like giving you grief. You kind of like need to go, mate. So you go to the podium, and we'll catch you up there. Well done. Love it. That was honestly one of my favourite podiums. They'd driven so well. I thought the driving standards again were excellent, and yeah, it was lovely. So yeah, we'll catch you in a bit.
What a classy move. That was a classy move. The championship leader is in the gravel trap.
Neil sends him off, and it's a kick of dirt on the out.